Alright guys, in this video we're talking about the best ways to monitor your progress in the off season. So we're going to keep it going with these off season themed videos just because I'm in the off season and it's relevant topics to me, and because people know that I'm getting a lot of questions that are kind of related to the off season, muscle building phases, etc. So, we all know obviously when you're trying to lose body fat, lose weight, it's a really good idea to, not only weigh yourself, but, take pictures at least once a week so that you can see the changes that are happening. And making sure that, if you see a weight loss on the scale, it correlates directly with seeing someone lose body fat in their pictures. Because I know, as being a coach, sometimes you can see someone lose weight on the scale, but their pictures don't really look different, or sometimes they can actually even look like they may have gained fat. And that a lot of times can mean that, something needs to change in the program. Like if this person is in a calorie deficit, but they're losing weight, but not losing fat, they're probably losing muscle. That's not good, so something needs to change. This goes both ways in the off season as well. We can so easily get caught up in just a number when it comes to the off season. Like, a lot of guys want to hit 300 pounds in their off season so they can be in a 300 pound club. And, the scale definitely is a tool in the off season. We're definitely trying to push the scale up. It's definitely a sign that we're gaining lean muscle tissue, but it's not the be all end all, especially if you do your off season right, which is what I'm going to elaborate more on now. So when you're starting a muscle building phase, it's super important that you start in a lean body state, right? The less body fat you have when you start a muscle building phase, the better. So the ideal situation is that you just came out of a prep, or you came off some type of fat loss cut, some type of diet that had you in a calorie deficit. The leaner you are, the less body fat you have, the more insulin sensitive you're going to be. So that when you start your reverse diet or start your bulking diet and start adding calories back in, your body's going to be in a environment to start absorbing those nutrients, using them to fuel your training, using them to help recover from training sessions and actually build the muscle. So many people come to me that have excess body fat that want to build muscle, and oftentimes I need to explain to them, like, hey, before we get into this, before we start that process, we're going to need to lean you out first, and here's why. And the people that understand it and do it always have fantastic results. A lot of my MorganMac nutrition clients can vouch for that. I'm huge on that, getting people lean before muscle building phase, improve insulin sensitivity, reverse diet properly. So obviously, if you just came off a cut or contest prep, your food's gonna be pretty low, your cardio is gonna be pretty high. So the idea then is to start obviously slowly adding food back in through mostly carbohydrates, a little bit of fat. Protein should always kind of be the same, and slowly lowering cardio week to week. So that we go from being in that deficit, we lower cardio, increase food, lower cardio, increase food, kind of find a maintenance, and then start slowly putting that person in a calorie surplus. Because if we go from being in this big deficit, stop doing cardio and just eat whatever we want, we're going to go from eating into a calorie deficit to a huge calorie surplus too fast. Our body's going to pile on body fat really quick. We're going to become insulin resistant, and we're going to ruin our potential for a good muscle gaining phase. So very important that you do this nice and slow. So getting into the monitoring the progress, pictures are just as important, guys, when you're trying to build muscle as when you're trying to lose body fat. You need to be able to be like, okay, I gained 2 pounds in my first week on my new diet that I know has put me in a calorie surplus. We're trying to gain muscle here. Let's look at the pictures, okay? And if you look at the pictures and you gain 2 pounds and you just look fuller, but your skin is just as tight and your body fat looks like it's the same, and you check your front picture, your side picture, your back picture, you don't notice any added body fat anywhere, you're in the clear. That's great. You know what you're doing is working. You're gaining muscle. Obviously, we want to train to gain muscle, like to gain weight at like a half pound to a pound a week. That's a more realistic realm that you could, actually be adding lean muscle tissue at that rate and not body fat. Because if you jump up 4 or 5 pounds in 1 week, there's no way all that's muscle. Like, it doesn't even matter if you're taking steroids or whatever. No one's gaining weight that fast. So then again, you go back to the pictures, compare them to the week before. Okay, I gained 5 pounds this week. I know I'm trying to gain weight. Let's look at the pictures. Oh, okay, yeah, I look, in a week you probably wouldn't put on fat, but you'll probably notice like excess water from the excess food. And a lot of that will be the excess weight. So you can kind of catch it before the water kind of starts turning into fat from that, like being in that excessive calorie surplus for too long. So that's when you look at the pictures and be like, okay, I know my weight went up. I'm looking like a little bit more watery. Maybe a little bit more body fat was added this week than I want. so I can pull back on the calories a little bit, maybe lose that, 5 pounds or even 3 or 4 of it, get back down so that over a 2-week span, like I said, that first week, okay, we gained 5 pounds. Okay, second week, let's try to lose 3 of that 5. Over 2 weeks, we gained 2 pounds. That's 1 pound a week. We're back on track, right? But if we only went by the scale and we were like, okay, we're gaining weight, that's what we're trying to do, let's just keep trying to gain weight, and we keep adding body fat and we're not tracking that or noticing that, because guys, we get up and look at ourselves in the mirror every morning, so you're not just gonna be able to look at yourself and know if you're gaining weight or not, or gaining body fat or not. Excuse me. You have to be able to take pictures once a week and compare back, because it's going to take that much time for your body to change anyway. So again, that's another reason why the pictures are vital. You can't just look at yourself and be like, oh, no, I think I'm fine. Like, I know I gained 5 pounds, but like, I feel pretty good. I'll just keep going. Like, you're asking for trouble, and you're going to ruin your muscle building phase, guys, because once the body fat starts coming on, and the more you put on, like I said before, the more insulin resistant you become. And then as you're trying to be in this calorie surplus, you're trying to eat all this food, the more insulin resistant you become, the less and less food and carbs your body's going to take and actually utilize for energy and for muscle recovery. And it's just going to keep storing it as body fat and more body fat and more body fat. And that's when we get in trouble, when we're trying to chase a number. Because a lot of times guys just tend to keep pushing the food no matter what, not doing any cardio, getting that mindset of just sitting around, try to save every calorie because they don't want to burn too many calories. And they become insulin resistant, and then they might hit that goal weight, but they just put on more and more body fat. And then when it comes time to cut again, because that time is going to come, that's just way more body fat you have to cut off. And then that's going to lead to you having to go into a deeper calorie deficit for a longer period of time. And that puts you at risk for losing muscle. And that is what we don't want. So guys, that's my spiel on why you should take pictures in the off season. You got to keep body fat in check, guys. It's not just about getting huge and getting big. Like, what does getting big even mean? Like, you can get big so many ways, and putting on body fat is definitely one of them. So you got to take things nice and slow, slowly work up that food as you plateau week after week. Try to gain that 0.5 pound or 1 pound a week. Take pictures and monitor body composition. Obviously, along the way, you're going to put on a little bit of body fat from the start point to the end point of your muscle building phase, and that's okay. We just want to mitigate it. I would say, a good guide would be, once you can, you should always be able to see abs a little bit, right? That's kind of my rule of thumb. Like, no matter how big I got, even when I got the 325, 330, when I flex my stomach, I could still see my abs. When I flex my quads, I could still see some lines in my quads. So that's kind of a good guide to use. Once you start losing your lines in your abs, your lines in your legs all together, then it's time to put the brakes on the bulk. You probably have enough body fat, or maybe even a little bit too much on at that point, and then you want to start cutting things back down, work yourself slowly back into a calorie deficit, and start chipping away the body fat before it's kind of too late and you have to do a really aggressive cut and sacrifice muscle. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And guys, drop a comment in the comments below if there's anything you want me to touch on, any topics you want me to talk about. I would love to do it. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.